Everyone knows that pasta night is the best night of the week. Carbs, sauce, butter, cheese, maybe even meatballs. No matter what you're throwing in that pan, you're almost guaranteed a filling and truly comforting meal. Even better, pasta is so easy to make that even the most beginner home cook can pull it off without burning the house down. All you have to do is heat the water, toss in the pasta of your choice, and let it cook until it's perfectly al dente, right? Well, yes, in theory, but if you're opting for spaghetti instead of smaller shapes, there are a few rules worth following. In fact, there's one thing in particular you should never do when you're cooking up a pot of spaghetti. The only difficulty when it comes to cooking spaghetti or similarly long noodles like angel hair, linguine, or fettuccine is trying to fit those spindly, brittle sticks into a pot. Unless you have a very large steam pot, you're probably going to be left with half of the noodles underwater and half sticking awkwardly out at the top. So it's obviously very tempting to snap the noodles in half so that they're all submerged safely in the pot. If nothing else, this should mean they'll cook more evenly. Truth is, though, this is a huge pasta faux pas. The reason you should never break your spaghetti before cooking it is because the noodles are meant to be eaten by twirling them around your fork. And this is pretty difficult to do when you're left with tiny, broken up pieces of spaghetti rather than the full noodle. In fact, many Italians even consider it bad luck to break pasta. But here's the question: if you aren't supposed to break the noodles before cooking them, what are you supposed to do? Well, it seems like every chef, both at home and professional, have their own opinions on the best way to cook them. However, there are some basics that most people can agree on when it comes to the perfect pot of pasta. The first step is actually getting the pot right. The larger the pot, the fewer long spaghetti noodles that will be sticking out the top. You're probably best getting one that both holds at least 7 quarts and is lightweight, so the water boils faster. Most cooks will also recommend salting the water. In fact, it's one of Giada De Laurentiis' #1 pasta making tips. The Food Network star told Food Beast, "The first time you get to season the pasta, which is in the water, is what's going to make the difference between a great pasta and a mediocre pasta. If you don't season it with enough salt, your pasta is bland." So how much salt should you add? Enough for the water to be very salty, according to De Laurentiis, who says, "Season it like you would the sea." After that, you'll want to stir the noodles every so often as they cook to prevent them from sticking together and ensuring they all get submerged in the boiling water. After you've served up your beautiful, unbroken spaghetti noodles, it's time to get twirling. And it turns out the twirling method of eating pasta is a long-standing tradition in Italy, and one that requires a little practice to perfect. For starters, if you want to eat your noodles like a true Italian, you should never use a spoon to help twirl spaghetti. This is a common practice in the US, but it's actually frowned upon overseas.
Mamma mia!
Instead, you should separate a few strands with the tines of your fork and then use the curve of the plate to help you twirl them up. There is one exception to the no spoon rule, though. If you're eating pasta served in broth, you are allowed to use a spoon. As Maureen Fant, co-author of Sauces and Shapes, Pasta the Italian Way, explains to Splendid Table, the twirling in a spoon is permitted in only one case. That case is when you have your angel hair, which everybody loves, in broth, which is where it's meant to be. And there you have it, spaghetti done right. Buon appetito! Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Mashed videos about your favorite foods are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.